May our Father, Messiah, and the Holy Spirit be with us. Deuteronomy chapter 15. Every 7th year you shall grant a remission of debts, and this is the manner of the remission. Every creditor shall remit the claim that is held against a neighbor, not exacting it of a neighbor who is a member of the community, because our Father in heaven's remission has been proclaimed. Of a foreigner you may exact it, but you must remit your claim on whatever any member of your community owes you. There will, however, be no one in need among you, because our Father in heaven is sure to bless you in the land that our Father in heaven your God is giving you as a possession to occupy. If only you will obey our Father in heaven your God by diligently observing this entire commandment that I command you today. When our Father in heaven, your God, has blessed you, as he promised you, you will lend to many nations, but you will not borrow. You will rule over many nations, but they will not rule over you. If there is among you anyone in need, a member of your community in any of your towns within the land that our Father in heaven, your God, is giving you, do not be hard hearted or tight fisted toward your needy neighbor. You should rather open your hand, willingly lending enough to meet the need, whatever it may be. Be careful that you do not entertain a mean thought, thinking, the 7th year, the year of remission, is near, and therefore view your needy neighbor with hostility and give nothing. Your neighbor might cry to our Father in heaven against you, and you would incur guilt. Give liberally and be ungrudging when you do so. For on this account, our Father in heaven, your God, will bless you in all your work and in all that you undertake. Since there will never cease to be some in need on the earth, I therefore command you, open your hand to the poor and needy neighbor in your land. If a member of your community, whether a Hebrew man or a Hebrew woman, is sold to you and works for you for 6 years, in the 7th year, you shall set that person free. And when you send a male slave out from you, a free person, you shall not send him out empty handed. Provide liberally out of your flock, your threshing floor, and your winepress, thus giving to him some of the bounty with which our Father in heaven, your God, has blessed you. Remember that you were a slave in the land of Egypt, and our Father in heaven, your God, redeemed you. For this reason, I lay this command upon you today. But if he says to you, I will not go out from you, because he loves you and your household, since he is well off with you, then you shall take an awl and thrust it through his earlobe into the door, and he shall be your slave forever. You shall do the same with regard to your female slave. Do not consider it a hardship when you send them out from you free persons, because for 6 years they gave you services worth the wages of hired laborers. And our Father in heaven, your God, will bless you in all that you do. Every firstling male born of your herd and flock you shall consecrate to our Father in heaven, your God. You shall not do work with your firstling ox, nor shear the firstling of your flock. You shall eat it, you together with your household, in the presence of our Father in heaven, your God, year by year at the place that our Father in heaven will choose. But if it has any defect, any serious defect, such as a lameness or blindness, you shall not sacrifice it to our Father in heaven, your God. Within your towns you may eat it, the unclean and the clean alike, as you would a gazelle or deer. Its blood, however, you must not eat. You shall pour it out on the ground like water. Chapter 16. Observe the month of Abib by keeping the Passover to our Father in heaven, your God. For in the month of Abib, our Father in heaven, your God, brought you out of Egypt by night. You shall offer the Passover sacrifice to our Father in heaven, your God, from the flock and the herd, at the place that our Father in heaven will choose as a dwelling for his name. You must not eat with it anything leavened. For 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread with it, the bread of affliction, because you came out of the land of Egypt in great haste, so that all the days of your life you may remember the day of your departure from the land of Egypt. No leaven shall be seen with you in all your territory for 7 days, and none of the meat of what you slaughter on the evening of the first day shall remain until morning. You are not permitted to offer the Passover sacrifice within any of your towns that our Father in heaven, your God, is giving you. But at that place that our Father in heaven your God will choose as a dwelling place for his name, only there shall you offer the Passover sacrifice, and the evening at sunset, the time of day when you departed from Egypt. You shall cook it and eat it at the place that our Father in heaven your God will choose. The next morning you may go back to your tents. For 6 days you shall continue to eat unleavened bread, and on the seventh day there shall be a solemn assembly for our Father in heaven your God, when you shall do no work. You shall count 7 weeks. Begin to count the 7 weeks from the time the sickle is first put to the standing grain. Then you shall keep the festival of weeks to our Father in heaven your God, contributing a free will offering in proportion to the blessing that you have received from our Father in heaven your God. Rejoice before our Father in heaven your God, you and your sons and your daughters, your male and female slaves, the Levites resident in your towns, as well as the strangers, the orphans, and the widows who are among you, at the place that our Father in heaven your God will choose as a dwelling for his name. Remember that you were a slave in Egypt, and diligently observe these statutes. You shall keep the festival of booths for 7 days, when you have gathered in the produce from your threshing floor and your winepress. Rejoice during your festival, you and your sons and your daughters, your male and female slaves, as well as the Levites, the strangers, the orphans, and the widows resident in your towns. 7 days you shall keep the festival till our Father in heaven your God at the place where our Father in heaven will choose. For our Father your God will bless you in all your produce and in all your undertakings, and you shall surely celebrate. 3 times a year all your males shall appear before our Father your God at the place that he will choose, at the festival of unleavened bread, at the festival of weeks, and at the festival of booths. They shall not appear before our Father empty handed. All shall give as they are able, according to the blessing our Father your God has given you. You shall appoint judges and officials throughout your tribes in all your towns that our Father your God is giving you, and they shall render just decisions for the people. You must not distort justice, you must not show partiality, and you must not accept bribes. For a bribe blinds the eyes of the wise and subverts the cause of those who are in the right. Justice, and only justice, you shall pursue, so that you may live and occupy the land that our Father in heaven your God is giving you. You shall not plant any tree as a sacred pole beside the altar that you make for our Father your God, nor shall you set up a stone pillar, things that our Father your God hates. Chapter 17. You must not sacrifice to our Father your God an ox or sheep that has a defect, anything seriously wrong, for that is abhorrent to our Father your God. If there is found among you in one of your towns that our Father your God is giving you, a man or woman who does what is evil in the sight of our Father your God and transgresses his covenant, by going to serve other gods and worshiping them, whether the sun or the moon or any of the host of heaven, which I have forbidden, and if it is reported to you or you hear of it, and you make a thorough inquiry, and the charge is proved true that such abhorrent thing has occurred in Israel, then you shall bring out to your gates that man or that woman who has committed this crime, and you shall stone the man or woman to death. On the evidence of 2 or 3 witnesses, the death sentence shall be executed. A person must not be put to death on the evidence of only one witness. The hands of the witnesses shall be the first raised against the person to execute the death penalty, and afterward the hands of all the people. So you shall purge the evil from your midst. If a judicial decision is too difficult for you to make between one kind of bloodshed and another, one kind of legal right and another, or one kind of assault and another, any such matters of dispute in your towns, then you shall immediately go up to the place that our Father in heaven your God will choose, where you shall consult with the Levitical priest and the judge who is in the office in those days. They shall announce to you the decision in the case. Carry out exactly the decision that they announce to you from the place that our Father will choose, diligently observing everything they instruct you. You must carry out fully the law that they interpret for you, or the ruling that they announce to you. Do not turn aside from the decision that they announce to you, either to the right or to the left. As for anyone who presumes to disobey the priest appointed to minister there to our Father, your God, or the judge, that person shall die. So you shall purge the evil from Israel. All the people will hear and be afraid, and will not act presumptuously again. When you have come into the land that our Father your God is giving you, and have taken possession of it and settled in it, and you say, I will set a king over me, like all the nations that are around me. You may indeed set a king over you, whom our Father in heaven your God will choose. One of your own community you may set as king over you. You are not permitted to put a foreigner over you who is not of your own community. Even so, he must not acquire many horses for himself, or return the people to Egypt in order to acquire more horses, since our Father in heaven has said to you, you must never return that way again. He must not acquire many wives for himself, or else his heart will turn away. Also, silver and gold he must not acquire in great quantity for himself. When he has taken the throne of his kingdom, he shall have a copy of this law written for him in the presence of the Levitical priest. It shall remain with him, and he shall read it in all the days of his life, so that he may learn to fear our Father in heaven his God, diligently observing all the words of this law and these statutes, neither exalting himself above other members of the community, nor turning aside from the commandment, either to the right or to the left, so that he and his descendants may reign long over his kingdom in Israel. Chapter 18. The Levitical priest, the whole tribe of Levi, shall have no allotment or inheritance within Israel. They may eat the sacrifices that are our father's portion, but they shall have no inheritance among the other members of the community. Our Father in heaven is their inheritance, as he promised them. This shall be the priest's due from the people, from those offering a sacrifice, whether an ox or a sheep. They shall give to the priest the shoulder, the two jewels, and the stomach, the first fruits of your grain, your wine, and your oil, as well as the first of your fleece of your sheep, you shall give him. For our Father in heaven your God has chosen Levi out of all your tribes to stand and minister in the name of our Father, him and his sons for all time. If a Levite leaves any of your towns from wherever he has been residing in Israel and comes to the place that our Father will choose, and he may come whenever he wills, then he may minister in the name of our Father his God, like all his fellow Levites who stand to minister there before our Father. They shall have equal portions to eat, even though they have income from the sale of family possessions. When you come into the land that our Father in heaven your God is giving you, you must not learn to imitate the abhorrent practices of those nations. No one shall be found among you who makes a son or daughter pass through fire, or who practices divination, or is a soothsayer, or an augur, or a sorcerer, or one who casts spells, or one who consults ghosts or spirits, or who seeks oracles from the dead. For whoever does these things is abhorrent to our Father. It is because of such abhorrent practices that our Father your God is driving them out from before you. You must remain completely loyal to our Father in heaven your God. Although these nations that you are about to dispossess do give heed to soothsayers and diviners, as for you, our Father in heaven your God does not permit you to do so. Our Father in heaven your God will raise up for you a prophet like me from among your own people, and you shall heed such a prophet. This is what you requested of our Father in heaven your God at Horeb on the day of the assembly, when you said, if I hear the voice of our Father in heaven, my God, any more, or ever again see this great fire, I will die. Then our Father in heaven replied to me, they are right in what they have said. I will raise up for them a prophet like you from among their own people. I will put my words in the mouth of the prophet, who shall speak to them everything that I command. Anyone who does not heed the words that he, the prophet, shall speak in my name, I myself will hold accountable. But any prophet who speaks in the name of other gods, or who presumes to speak in my name, a word that I have not commanded the prophet to speak, that prophet shall die. You may say to yourself, how can we recognize a word that our Father in heaven has not spoken? If a prophet speaks in the name of our Father, but the thing does not take place or prove true, It is a word that the prophet has not, it is a word that our Father in heaven has not spoken. The prophet has spoken it presumptuously. Do not be frightened by it. Chapter 19. When our Father in heaven, your God, has cut off the nations whose land our Father your God is giving you, and you have dispossessed them and settled in their towns and in their houses, you shall set apart 3 cities in the land that our Father your God is giving you to possess. You shall calculate the distances and divide into 3 regions the land that our Father your God gives you as a possession, so that any homicide can flee to one of them. Now, this is the case of a homicide who might flee there and live. That is, someone who has killed another person unintentionally, when the two had not been at enmity before. Suppose someone goes into the forest with another to cut wood, and when one of them swings the axe to cut down a tree, the head slips from the handle and strikes the other person, who then dies. The killer may flee to one of these cities and live. But if the distance is too great, the avenger of blood in hot anger might pursue and overtake and put the killer to death, although a death sentence was not deserved, since the two had not been at enmity before. Therefore, I command you, you shall set apart 3 cities. If our Father in heaven, your God, enlarges your territory, as he swore to your ancestors, and he will give you all the land that he promised your ancestors to give you, provided you diligently observe this entire commandment that I command you today, by loving our Father your God and walking in all his ways, then you shall add 3 more cities to these 3, so that the blood of an innocent person may not be shed in the land that our Father your God is giving you as an inheritance, thereby bringing blood guilt upon you. But if someone at enmity with another lies in wait and attacks and takes the life of that person and flees into one of these cities, then the elders of the killer's city shall send to have the culprit taken from there and handed over to the avenger of blood to be put to death. Show no pity. You shall purge the guilt of innocent blood from Israel, so that it may go well with you. You must not move your neighbor's boundary marker, set up by former generations, on the property that will be allotted to you in the land that our Father in heaven, your God, is giving you to possess. A single witness shall not suffice to convict a person of any crime or wrongdoing in connection with any offense that may be committed. Only on the evidence of 2 or 3 witnesses shall a charge be sustained. If a malicious witness comes forward to accuse someone of wrongdoing, then both parties to the dispute shall appear before our Father, before the priest and the judges who are in office in those days. And the judges shall make a thorough inquiry. If the witness is a false witness, having testified falsely against another, then you shall do to the false witness just as the false witness had meant to do to the other. So you shall purge the evil from your midst. The rest shall hear and be afraid, and a crime such as this shall never again be committed among you. Show no pity. Life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. Father willing, we will continue with Deuteronomy chapter 20. May our Father, Messiah, and the Holy Spirit be with us. Repent. The kingdom of heaven is near. Peace.